Hello, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Other Side podcast with Annabelle Kemi. Today on the show, I'll be digging into a phenomenon that I think has become really dangerous for our society. Because of globalization and how fast the social media has grown now, there is always this mob mentality that is promoted, which often leads to cancel culture. I'm sure you might have heard that somebody is being cancelled for something he or she did. And as much as sometimes it is good to, talk about these negatives, sometimes people just cancel people for simply because they don't like their faces. So it's almost like online bullying, if you ask me. And so today I want to discuss the dangers of mob mentality and cancel culture in contemporary times. On the show today, I'll be exploring the dangers of mob mentality and cancel culture. I'll also examine their effects on society through studies and theories, while also connecting these issues with globalization, technological advancements, and moral considerations. So let's understand what mob mentality and cancel culture really is. Mob mentality, also known as herd behavior, that is H-E-R-D. Herd behavior refers to how individuals can be influenced by a large group's collective behavior, often leading to irrational or extreme actions that might not normally happen. Cancel culture, on the other hand, involves publicly shaming or ostracizing individuals or entities through typically social media for perceived wrongdoings and controversial opinions. This often happens as a fallout of mob mentality. So cancel culture is more or less like a product of mob mentality. These phenomena are not new, but they have sort of gained prominence with the rise of digital platforms. In the past, public outrage was often confined to local communities of traditional media, but now it can spread rapidly and even become global in seconds. Now, what is the psychology behind mob mentality? You see, mob mentality can lead to extreme behaviors due to the loss of personal accountability and the influence of group dynamics. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo's famous Stanford prison experiment revealed how ordinary individuals could commit harmful acts when placed in a group setting with dehumanizing conditions. His findings indicate that group dynamics can significantly alter individual behavior, leading to actions that one might not take independently. That is to say, if you were not in that group, you probably wouldn't have thought of taking that particular action. A study by social psychologist Solomon Ash on conformity, this is a very popular study, also highlights the power of group pressure. Ash's experiments showed that individuals often conform to group opinions even when they know those opinions are incorrect, just to fit in. This tendency to conform can drive mob mentality, where the group's collective behavior overshadows individual judgments and morality. So what are the impacts of cancel culture on society? Cancel culture, while often aimed at holding individuals, so to say, accountable for their actions, can also have unintended and detrimental consequences, not only on the individuals but on society at large. It leads firstly to fear and censorship. Cancel culture can create an environment of fear where individuals might self-censor or avoid expressing their opinions to avoid backlash. This stifles open dialogue and intellectual diversity, such that everybody is supposed to be thinking the same way, even if it is wrong. And such diversity is crucial for societal progress. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that social inclusion and fear of ostracism, that's fear of being ostracized, can significantly impact individual behavior and freedom of expression. Also, cancel culture could lead to public shaming and mental health issues. The public shaming associated with cancel culture can lead to severe psychological distress. Research from the University of California, Los Angeles, that's UCLA, indicates that online harassment and shaming can lead to anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. These suggest that the social consequences of cancel culture can have profound and lasting effects on our mental health. There have been so many cases of people being bullied online, and then you hear that they committed suicide. There was a particular case where a boy in America was being blackmailed by two brothers or so here in Nigeria, and it led the boy to commit suicide. These are some of the downsides of mob mentality and cancel culture. Also, this mob mentality and cancel culture leads to a lack of nuanced discourse. Cancel culture often emphasizes binary thinking, good versus bad, light versus dark, or right versus wrong, rather than encouraging nuanced discussions. Let's look at the gray lines. This oversimplification can hinder understanding and problem solving. The work of philosopher Martha Nussbaum highlights the importance of empathy and moral imagination in addressing complex social issues, which can be undermined by punitive nature of the cancel culture. Some things are not always just right or wrong. There are times when it is neither right nor wrong. So we should allow for nuanced thinking, which cancel culture and mob mentality does not allow for. Now let's connect this to globalization and technological advancements. Due to globalization and technological advancements, the spread of outrage and bad vibes or ideas have been enabled. The internet and social media platforms encourage this, such that what begins as a localized issue can quickly become an international controversy, magnifying its impact and intensifying the collective response. A study by the Pew Research Center found that 72% of United States adults get news from social media. And I could almost say that's true of a country like Nigeria too, even though we do not have statistics or numbers to back that up. This is not limited to the USA, trust me. Illustrating the roles that these platforms play in shaping public opinion and mobilizing collective action. Do you remember the Arab Spring? That was as a result of globalization and technological advancement via social media platforms and the internet. This could sometimes be positive or a lot of times negative. Also, these advancements create echo chambers and polarization. Social media algorithms, for example, often create an echo chamber for showing users content that align with their existing beliefs and reinforces their views, and also intensifies their reaction to opposing perspectives, such that you only see your perspective. The polarization can exacerbate mob mentality as groups become more insular and extreme. Research from Oxford Internet Institute shows that algorithm-driven echo chambers can deepen societal divides and contribute to the spread of misinformation, because most times all you keep seeing on your social media feed is what you originally believe in. So you don't see the other side of the story. You don't see the other person's perspective. Your perspective is intensified and you think that is the only right perspective or how it is supposed to be. Then it creates a herd mentality and leads to cancel culture. Now let us consider the moral dimension of this discourse. The rise of mob mentality and cancel culture raises important moral questions about justice, forgiveness, and societal values. So let's look at justice versus retribution. While holding individuals accountable for harmful actions is important, cancel culture often shifts from just seeking justice to pursuing retribution. This punitive approach can neglect the potential for rehabilitation and growth. People must not always die for the mistakes they have made. Philosopher John Rawls' theory of justice emphasizes fairness and the possibility of redemption, suggesting that moral and ethical frameworks should consider the potential for individuals to make amends and change. It is possible for someone who murdered somebody yesterday to turn out to become someone who will improve the lives of many others. So let us always give room for change. Everybody deserves a second chance, in my opinion. Now we look at moral outrage and proportionality. The intensity of public outrage in cancel culture can sometimes be disproportionate to the offense. The moral outrage can overshadow the reasoned debate and often lead to excessive punishment. The principle of proportionality, as discussed by ethicist Michael Sandel, argues that the responses to wrongdoings should be measured and appropriate to the severity of the offense. This is something cancel culture totally lacks. It doesn't give room for you to weigh what happened against what the reaction should be, ideally. Now, how do we navigate this challenge? Addressing the dangers of mob mentality and cancel culture requires a thoughtful approach. The first is we could start by promoting open dialogue. Encouraging open and respectful dialogue can help counteract the effects of mob mentality and cancel culture. Facilitating discussions that allow for diverse perspectives and constructive criticism fosters understanding and reduces polarization. Also, there should be options for support for our mental health. Providing support for individuals affected by cancel culture's consequences is crucial because it could prevent a lot of unwarranted suicide. This includes offering mental health resources and promoting a culture of empathy and understanding both online and offline. Also, let's consider encouraging nuanced thinking. Advocating for nuanced and empathetic approaches to addressing wrongdoings helps balance accountability with compassion. A society without compassion is more or less a dead society. Encouraging individuals to consider the context of issues and the potential for personal growth can lead to more balanced responses to some of these issues that could have led to cancel culture. Lastly, we could foster accountability and redemption. Developing systems that prioritize accountability and opportunities for redemption can address the shortcomings of cancel culture. This includes recognizing the potential for individuals to learn from their mistakes and also to make positive changes. So there should always be room for people to change. We cannot always raise up our voices in unison and cancel people. This could lead to a lot of unwarranted negative mental health issues and even death. So, what have I been talking about? The dangers of mob mentality and cancel culture. These highlight the complex interplay between technology, globalization, and morality. While these phenomena can mobilize collective action and accountability, they also pose significant risks to individual well-being and societal cohesion. By promoting open dialogue, supporting mental health, encouraging nuanced thinking, and fostering accountability, societies can work towards creating a more balanced and compassionate approach to addressing wrongdoings and promoting positive change, rather than just raising our voices and canceling people off the surface of the earth. I think we need to imbibe a lot more compassion in our actions on social media particularly. I sincerely hope these few words encourage you to think twice when there is a sort of mob mentality going on. When you recognize it or identify it on social media, try to look at the gray areas and consider both perspectives before you begin to cancel people, and also put yourself in their shoes. Everyone deserves a chance to change and become a positive person. So thank you very much for hanging out with me again today. I'll see you next time when we talk about another very vital issue. In the meantime, I expect you to go back, think about this, and make a change. My name is Annabelle Kemi, and you have been on the Other Side podcast. See you next time. Bye for now.